about chapter 2? Chapter 2 is about the literature review. Okay, so what do we discuss? The first part of each chapter from now onward, or the introduction of each chapter, you just write that what is the content of this chapter? A short summary that what you will discuss here. So this is clear. So what you write after that, the review of previous studies. This should be something that really help you for the design, okay? Maybe you're going to discuss about the, your concept would be something about the contextualism concept. You have something in your mind that you're going to design a cultural center and you want to go for the approach of contextualism. So what you need to take into account, I'm sorry. So you need to know about the context, you need to know about Oman, you need to know about the architecture of this country, okay? So whatever that helps you to later in your design, it can come under this 2.2 for the review of previous studies. It can be about the architecture of Oman, about the cultural elements of Oman, about the main challenges that we have in Oman, okay, about the importance of the tourism in Oman. So the second part would be about the typology of buildings. For example, you want to design a cultural center or you want to design a museum. What type of museum do we have? Okay, and maybe we want to compare them. For example, what is the difference between them? And at the end, which of them you are going to design? So in the typology of building, you can discuss about these items. The next one is standards related to your project. It is very clear, and you do this all the time for all of your basically studios too. Okay, so what are the standards that we have for any of these spaces that you want to design under your category? Then the case studies. So for the case studies, you're going to have 4 case studies. Okay, number 1 from Dhofar region, if be applicable. For example, you want to design a mosque. So what is, or the Jami mosque. So what Jami mosque we have here in Salalah or in Dhofar that they are very notable, or they help you to be inspired, or you're going to get to learn something from them. The other one from Oman, the next one from the Gulf region, and the last one from the one international case study can be. Chapter 3 is about the methodology. So we are going to do very small research here, okay? So what type of research we can do? In the very simplest way, we can have a small survey from the people and ask them some questions that help us to design our buildings. For example, again, you want to design a cultural center, right? And you don't know what people really want, or what are the shortages of spaces that we have now. There's something that you want to know the people's opinion. You want to know that what are they thinking about, okay? And how, because you're going to implement these basically ideas in your design, you want to know that how do they want that a future cultural space looks like, okay? So you can easily have some questions, and you have a survey, and you can use it in the Google form, and it easily gives you some diagrams, and even if you don't know the SPSS, so that's fine, you can use the Google form, because later, of course, during the master or PhD studies, you will learn more in detail about the research survey and the research methodology, okay? So the minimum requirement is that we have one survey for asking the people that what is their opinion about. The other type of survey could be that, the other type of research could be that if you want to, for example, analyze some part of traditional architecture, or you want to learn something from the past and you want to have a content analysis to understand these spaces, this also can come under the methodology. Chapter 4, we call it design guidelines. Okay, do you remember from the beginning I says that whatever chapter we are writing or whatever information we are adding to our thesis should help us to design better. So Chapter 4, we allocated for the design guidelines that later in the chapter 5, they help you to design good spaces. Number 1, the finding from the research. Okay, so after introduction, the 4.2 is the finding from your research. If you have a survey, okay, so what did people wanted? What spaces they want? Maybe there are some name of spaces that they wanted and they don't have at the moment. So you're going to make it like the design guidelines. Here I suggest you that even if you draw some sketches for each of these design criteria, or you try to have some number of tables for this, that would be very nice. The next part, design guidelines you get from the case studies. This is also very important. We just don't want to put 4 or 5 case studies just, to fill some part of the thesis, okay? We want to learn from these case studies. What did you learn from these case studies? And it helped you to have a design guideline. For example, there was maybe a center design with a specific architect and they have a very specific challenge. Okay, for example, they wanted to have a biophilic features, or for example, they wanted to connect 2 parts of the street together. They had a specific challenge, something similar to your challenge, and you want to say that how they did solve this challenge, or they have a specific structure, or they have some good strategy in for example, making of the spaces or even the landscape. So I want that you draw a series of tables or one table and put the images and the criteria, and you says that what did you learn from these case studies? What guidelines do you learn or do you know about the how to design like more sustainable buildings from in passive cooling or ventilation, different types of ventilations? What design criteria related to your design you can find and you can add to that? And after all, conclusion. So what did you learn until now that they can all of them help you to design your project, and you start to write of the chapter 5. So chapter 5 is very easy. Most of the time you're actually doing this procedure in all of your studios, okay? So first of all, we have the site selection. You're going to suggest 3 sites and you have to defend that why this site is the best, okay? And after that, you're going to have a SWOT analysis, and here it is the numbering. I'm going to erase this one. After you selected your site, you should be very honest and try to give a SWOT analysis about your selected site, okay? So now you already selected based on your criteria. Out of those 3 sites, this is the best site, but you need to explain that, okay? Every site has its own strengths, every site has its own weaknesses, every site have its own opportunities and threats, okay? So you're going to use this later. It's going to guide you for design of your project. You're going to use it for your project, okay? And site analysis. Of course, you should have a very strong graphic. From here, especially in chapter 5, we mostly work with the graphics and less explanation. This is very usual what we discuss about the site analysis, about the location, about the physical characteristics, environmental factors that they have. If you have some functions around this, what are the functions, and you can explain any of them with some text and besides some graphics. Space programming, very important. Okay, now you decided, for example, to design a cultural center for about, let's say, 1,000 visitors. First, why did you select this number of visitors? Based on what? Based on which statistics? Did you refer to some statistics in the Oman or whatever? And now, what spaces do you have and how much area you need under each space? You're going to explain about it and write and draw one table for this as well. This part, design process, explanation of the design, will come next semester. When you have your FYP2, you're going to complete this report. You're going to add your design elements as well here, and the documents that you have for design, and you're going to have one full report for your thesis. Thank you very much, and I wish you the best of luck.